Okay, so now this is the second recording. We're on section 3, which is page 8 of your credit. And we're going to learn the test format and instructions ahead of time to beat the test. So I'm going to read what's on page 8. So anticipate 4 types of listening questions from the LPAC. First one, listen to a short exchange. That short exchange is going to have 3 questions. Listen to a classroom conversation. That will have 3 questions. Listen to an oral presentation. This will have a total of 8 questions, but there's going to be 2 separate topics. So one topic is going to have 4 questions, the other topic is going to have another 4 questions. Then you're going to listen to a speaker support an opinion, and that's going to have 8 questions. In the beginning, expect to answer 2 practice questions first. Take these questions seriously to make sure you understand what the test is asking. Expect to get all the questions from a recording. You will need to listen non-stop for 30 minutes or more. It will play the presentations first, followed by the corresponding questions and answer choices for them. Tip: once the test proctor plays the recording, he or she cannot pause or replay the recording unless a valid disruption occurs or you have an IEP that allows it. If your IEP allows pause and replay, take full advantage. Have the test proctor pause and replay the audio until you are comfortable to answer the questions. Don't be afraid to ask even if you have to ask 20 times. Doing your best comes first. Now, if you don't know what an IEP is or you don't know if you have one, go ahead and talk to your supervising teacher and ask them if you have one of those. Next, the recording for each section starts off fairly short. These are the easier questions. It gets progressively longer towards the end for listening to an oral presentation and to a speaker to support an opinion. These are the more challenging ones. So as you're going through this section, the listening portion is going to become longer, which means you need to really be paying attention or taking notes. Tip: you are allowed to write notes on your test booklet. Yay, notes! Use every available space to write down notes while listening. Having notes is much better than being under pressure to remember every detail you hear. So here I wrote questions, or I put in words in bold on the left side, and then on my right side I'm writing my responses. So you can do that. Left side, just write words or keywords, and then on the right side write your responses. You can number them as well. Okay, so now we're going to answer question number 1. How will you get your listening questions? So you're going to mark off on page 9 of your packet one of these, either from the test proctor or from a recording. Now, if you don't remember, you can go ahead and review page 8 or play the recording back because I just read it. Number 2, you're going to choose true or false. If you don't have an IEP, you can ask the test proctor to rewind listening questions. Okay, so this question is a little tricky, so you need to understand what it's asking you. So here we're going to review what it means to listen, right? So that's question number 1. So what is that meaning? So listening is a verb, it's an action, it's something that you do. So it means to hear, but it also means to pay attention with our ears, our eyes, and our hands. Okay, so when we say hands, how can you listen with your hands? You're going to be taking notes, keywords, main ideas, right? For number 2, what should you be doing while the recording is playing? 2, the response is taking notes in the examiner's manual. Use abbreviations. So instead of writing out the word example, if they're giving you an example, just go ahead and write EX, right? And like that, you'll remember, oh, that's just an example. If they're giving you sequences, like this is the first thing you need to do, and then you're going to do this, and then last you're going to do this, you can write it out in numbers, first, second, third, right? And if you're trying to, instead of writing complex sentences, like long sentences, you can just use symbols like and, right? just to help you remember what's being said to you, because this is the listening portion. Number 3, what should you not be doing while the recording is playing? Not be doing. So do not do this. Once again, do not do this while the recording is playing. You should not be talking. Why? Because if you are talking, then you are making noise. And if you are making noise, then you're creating a distraction for yourself and for other students. And it's just not fair because you're all going to be in one room doing the listening portion. What else should you not be doing? Once again, you should not be walking around the room because this is also going to be a distraction for other students and for yourself. Okay, now you're going to turn to page 10 and 11. Okay, and here this is pretty much just breaking down what you need to be doing in the listening portion and how it's going to be graded. So page 10 and 11, what I want you to do is just take a minute and identify and define words you do not know. So you can circle those words you do not know. For instance, task type, recording, like what are those words, right? So go ahead and circle all of the words you don't know, and then I want you to look up the definitions of these words and write the definitions on the left side of the page. And then on the right side, go ahead and write what those words mean to you. What do you think you're expected to do in each section? So if we look at listen to a short exchange on page 10, what is it what is it asking you to do? Okay, so I want you to break down this information so that it makes sense to you as to, okay, this is what they want me to do, so that when the test is happening, you understand, like, okay, this is where they want me just to respond this way. Okay, so go ahead and do that. And then discuss this with your teacher to see how you did.